strong.
Hi, welcome to the Youth Desk Show. It is a show that deals with relationship issues. For all this while, we have been looking at the things that you must take yourself through, the things that you must do, things that you must know before you get closer to proposing or before you get closer to accepting proposal. Before we take any step further, may I recognize the contribution of Rejoice Happy Home Institute. It is a fashion institute. If you want to learn anything about fashion up to the level of proficiency 2, please get to them. Their telephone number is beneath the screen. Call them and they will attend to you. What we have done so far are this: the makeup of the youth, or the psychological makeup of the youth, why you behave the way you do. That's the first thing that we looked at. Then the second thing we looked at in the show is that there is a need for Christ to be at the center of your life, because there are certain things that you will go through. You will need Christ. You will need Him. Without Him, I don't know how you're going to get through that. The third thing that we went through is the discipline and the discipline processes. And at that topic, we covered discipline by itself. Then we looked at the discipline of a hunter and the two types of hunters that are in there. We looked at all of them. Then the last week, what we did was the discipline of learning. And the one thing that was sure in that episode was that at any given point in time, there is learning taking place. Learning taking place. Those are the things that we have covered so far. And we are saying these are the things that you must know. You must learn them so that they become part and parcel of your life before you get closer to proposing or accepting proposal. For tonight, we're going to take a step further, and that is the discipline of observation. The discipline of observation. Now, in life, we all see things. We all see things every day. Sometimes you see something and you are not even aware the thing is there. So to see something is to become aware of something or to come to know something, but without getting attention to details of it. That is to see something. So let me put it this way. You are walking in front of a boutique and then you pass there every day. So you know that this place, there's a boutique here. But as to what they sell in the boutique, the type of dresses they sell, the type of shoe they sell in there, you have no idea. But you know, that is to see. But to observe is another matter by itself. To observe is to watch carefully, especially with the attention to details or behavior for the purpose of arriving at a judgment. To watch carefully, especially to pay attention to details, or you pay attention to behavior for the purpose of arriving at a judgment, so that you can draw conclusion from what you are saying. Let me give an example of that. You decide to go buy a shoe from a shop. Do you see, when you get to the shop, then you see a shoe, you pick it. Do you see how you look at it? You turn it this way, turn it that way. Look at it. You use your hand to feel the lace, use your hand and hit at the bottom part of the sole of the shoe, the sound alone can tell you something. You are doing all that so that you can make a judgment as to whether the shoe is a good shoe or not. I ask a friend, if you want to buy a jeans, how do you know, how can you tell that this jeans is a fake one from the true or the original jeans? And then he said, there are some things that they do. So if I go, I should try them. So I went to the shop, pick one, and I tried it. Indeed, when I tried it, I was able to tell that this one was not a correct one, even though the price was as good as the correct one. So observation is another matter altogether. Let's bring it home. You can see a lady, you can see a gentleman, but if you are looking at that person purposely to determine whether you can have a relationship with that lady or that gentleman leading into marriage, what you need to do is not about seeing, rather it's about observation. Many a times, some enter into relationships, there are so many red flags around in the relationship. If they were to have taken time to observe, to take notice of those red flags, they would have known that there are some challenges ahead. Either they take remediative measures to correct them before they get there, or get themselves in readiness for them so that when they come, or those days come, they will keep calm and take time and go through it. Or if need be, let go of the relationship early enough to avoid any hurt. Observation. If you want to see, you go to church and then there are so many ladies around. Yes, you see them. Yeah, you so many guys around. Yes, you see them. You go for a program, so many guys around. Yes, you see them. So many ladies around. You see them. But when it comes to about making a choice for a relationship, it's no longer seeing that is going to do the job. It's now going to be observation, because at that point, you will need to pay careful attention to details or careful attention to behavior so that you can arrive at a judgment as to whether he is indeed the one or she is indeed the one. Critical issues. So those are the differences or the difference between to see something and to observe something. To see something, you just have to take notice of it, or you just have to, come to be aware that the thing is there. That is it. You don't go beyond that. Then to observe is to watch carefully with attention to details or attention to behavior for the purpose of coming to a judgment for yourself, to arrive at a judgment, a conclusion for yourself that this is this and this and that. Don't forget, if what you are observing, you are not able to come to a firm conclusion for yourself, then, or your conclusions or your judgment is faulty, there's a problem ahead. Because you are coming to make a big decision. A big decision. Okay, let's take another step further. So all we are saying for all this while is that you must know when to use see to see something, and you must know when to do observation. You've got to know, young man, when to do see, where to see, and you've got to know, young lady, when to do observation. Now, observation, anytime that you want to engage in that, which we are calling observation, it requires focus. It requires mental analysis. It requires comparison. So focus basically is at the level of brain work, mind work. You focus on a thing in order to get details. Otherwise, anybody who see will not observe that. You need to use your mental faculties to be able to analyze what you are seeing, to be sure that it's indeed what your mind is interpreting to you, that is what you are seeing. Okay, you've got to do comparison to see whether this is actually right or wrong. This is actually going to help you or not. You've got to do all this. So observation requires 1, focus, 2, mental analysis, and 3, comparison. Now, for you to be able to do a good observation, sometimes, number 1, you have to stay afar off. Then you will be able to do a good observation to ascertain facts for yourselves. Don't forget, all the things we are saying so far, you will realize that they are not about the heart, they are about the mind. You must know when to do all this. If you put in your heart first, believe me, all the things that we are talking about right now, you can't do any of them. This is the time that they say that love has blinded him. Love has blinded her to all these things. So no heart here yet. We are talking about mental work, brain work. The guy you are seeing, the lady you are seeing, to be able to observe things about the person, about the guy, about the lady, sometimes you are required to stay afar off in order to ascertain details of fact for yourself. At the time that you are supposed to stay afar off, stay far away from the person that you have chosen to observe, the time, if you decide to come closer, there are a lot of things you will not be able to observe. In fact, you will not be able to even see them. So, my brothers and sisters, watch these things. It is needful that sometimes if you want to do a good observation, stay far away. Don't come close. When you stay far away, then certain attitude of the person, you can come to terms with it. You can see it clearly. Because, the person that you're observing doesn't know that you're observing him or her. So the person is relaxed, and the person is himself or herself, the usual self, doing the usual thing that he does, without knowing that there is somebody somewhere observing him or observing her. That is why we are saying that sometimes it is needful that when you want to observe people, you stay far away. You stay far away and just keep calm and watching what is happening. Because when you get close, as soon as you get close a little bit, and let's say a lady, you get closer a little bit. Ladies can tell whether you have interest in them or not. So that is, you got closer and she could sense the wind that this guy is interested in me. Finish. All of a sudden, she will cover herself. Guys do it. Ladies do it. They will cover themselves because they know that you have an interest in them. As soon as the lady knows that this guy has an interest in me, you will not be able to see her true identity anymore. Her true character, you will not be able to see anymore. As soon as the guy knows that you, the lady, you are interested in him, all of a sudden, everything that he will do will be fake. That is why we are saying that as a gentleman, as a lady who is getting prepared to approach proposing or acceptance of proposal, you must be in the known that there's a time that you need to observe the guys whose proposal you are accepting or you're going to accept. There's a time that will come that you need to observe the lady that you intend proposing to her. And when that time comes, please stay a bit far away. That way, she will not know that you are observing her. He will not know that you are observing him. Then you can see the true person as he is, as she is. And after that, you can come to a determination for yourself, or you can come to a judgment or a conclusion for yourself as to whether where you want to go is the right place to go or otherwise. So when you are far off, what are some of the things that you must pay attention to? One, what are some of the friends or the type of friends the person keeps? They will give you a window into the life, the belief system, the attitude of the person. Who are her friends? How do they dress? If they want to communicate, how do they communicate? If they are angry, how do they act? Their friends, what kind of job do they do? All these things will give you an insight into the lifestyle of the person you intend to propose to, or the person you intend to accept proposal from. Number two, work habit. Stay afar off. Look at how the person works. When clients get closer to buy from the person, how does he or she treats the clients? If people bring him or her job to do, how does he behave towards them? Is he somebody who is so serious about work? The person's work habit, observe it carefully. Because, folks, you know something? Whether you like it or not, 3, 4, 5 years into the marriage, all the things that you have refused to do now, what we are talking about right now, you do not take time to do them after 4, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years into the marriage. All these things will come up. And when they come up, there is nothing you can do because you're already in it. There's nothing you can do. And these are some of the things that accounts for a lot of what they are claiming to be. We are not compatible and let us go our separate ways. We are divorcing. This is all there is. Because we have not taken time enough to do our observations thoroughly. Number 3, if the person is angry, how does the person behave? Stay afar off and observe this. When the person is angry, how does the person behave? Do a conclusion for yourself. This person's anger, can I cope with it? If the person is angry, can I cope with him? Can I cope with her? Observe it critically and come to a conclusion for yourself as to whether you want to take a step further or you need to backtrack. When the person is happy, joyous, good mood, that's number 4. How does a person behave like? Okay? Here is somebody, celebration of birthday. This is my birthday, so we need to celebrate it. And the person organize big party, every year. Joyous celebration, yeah? The person is happy. Every year, big party. That's what you have observed. The question is, can you take that? If you go for such a person, it means that you are ready to be organizing such a party. Either with resources put together or find a way and get it done. Because that's a person. You observe it, you agree with it, and you're going for the person. But you observe it, you don't like what you are seeing, you back away. Cool. No problem. Please, are you following? These are critical things that I believe you must put to practice. That number 5, what are the places does a person patronize? Does a person love to go to the beach? That will give you an idea the type of person the person is. Or he loves to go into watch soccer. It gives an idea. Or the person loves going to church. It gives an idea. Or the person loves to go to clubs. It gives an idea. Or the person loves to travel. it gives you an idea. The places the person you are observing patronizes are very, very important. It will give you an idea into the person's life. Then the last one that I want to leave with you before we go to the next thing is that how does the person dress? This will also give you an idea about the mindset of the person. And I'm saying that you need to stay far away in order to observe all this and many more. How does the person dress? And don't forget, in dressing is not just about the clothing the person wears. Dressing is about the makeup, the clothing, the footwear, and then body markings. They are part of dressing. So is a person that loves tattoo? Well, it gives you an idea about who the person is. Is a person who, dresses in a manner, and then reveal the body. What I mean is that the person dressing and you can see the details of the person's body. Is that once you see the person dressed like that, or you observe the person consistently dressed like that, it gives you an idea about who the person is. So these and many other things, the friends of the type of friends the person keeps, the work habit of the person, if the person becomes angry or joy, how does the person behave? The places the person patronizes, what are those places? How does the person dress? You need to observe all this because they will give you an insight into the person's life, an insight into the person's behavior, an insight into the person's philosophy. All these things, you observe them while afar off. Don't forget, I said again that these things, when you draw closer, most of these things you will not be able to see them. When you draw closer, as soon as he knows that you are drawing closer because you have an interest in him, finish. He will cover himself right now. Even when you did the thing and when you've done the thing and he is angry, he won't show it. He won't show it at all. He will cover it. You will never know. So stay far away. Observe him when his friends make him angry. When things happen, the way he becomes, you observe all that. Then you make a judgment for yourself as to whether indeed, with respect of these things that you have observed, are you okay with it? Can you stay with such an attitude? Can you stay in an environment of those behaviors? Then you make a judgment for yourself. Then the second one is that in other situations, for you to do observation, some of the time you must draw closer. Some of the time you've got to draw closer. Get closer. I mean, by you getting closer, I don't mean you should go propose to the lady. Accept the. No, that's what I meant. Get closer. Okay? Get closer to the person. Be friends with the person. Get closer. Get within the person's inner cycle. Then certain things will become obvious to you. If you don't get closer, there are certain things in the person's life you will never see. Because those things, they are not things that are easily shared. They are not things that people easily talk about freely. So until you become a friend to the person, until you get to the inner environment or the inner cycle of the person, some of these things you will never hear them nor see them. Meanwhile, you need them again to be able to make conclusions for yourself as to whether he is the person or she is the person. I hope you've come that far with me. Okay, so when you draw close to the person, what are some of the things that you need to observe? One, how does the person pack his or her room? So you visited him or you visited her at home, and right at the entrance, you saw one of the shoes there. And beside the seat, there's another one there. Napkin on the ground. It tells you a story. Right at the entrance of the room, the doormat that is there, you can see sand all over. It tells you a story. Until you get closer, you cannot know that, because the time that you are far away watching, you see the person outside, already dressed, nicely looking, smelling good, haircut great. But these details, until you draw closer, you will not see them. The scenario I've just described to you shows that the person is untidy. The person is unkept. The person is not orderly. So once that person comes into your life, the person is going to bring that disorderliness, that unkeptness. The person will bring all that into your room. The person will leave one shoe at your entrance, your doormat full of sand, and the other shoe beside the bed, and a napkin on the ground somewhere. That is what the person is going to bring to you. That is what you are coming to stay with. So for you to make a judgment as to whether you are ready for something like that or not, you need to draw closer. Then you observe that. Then you make conclusion for yourself. Number two, how is the buying behavior of the person like? These are very critical things. The buying behavior. If the person is going to buy, how does he buy? Where does he buy from? What and what does he buy? That will give you an idea into the person's management skills. It will give you an idea into it straight. Does the person buy in bulk, or as and when the person needs it, the person go to buy from the roadside? All these things, they are things that will come to later on anyway, but then suffice it to say that it will give you an idea into the person's mindset. Then number three, what does the person eat? Yeah. It will give you an idea of how the eating habits of the person is like. Now, what the person eats will tell you, if you come to the house as a lady, what you have to spend most of your time preparing for him. Because our culture says the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Same way, our wives love it if sometime we husbands, we take time off and cook for them to eat. So if you know what she loves to eat, you observed it for her, and she's at the ampesi type of a woman, or she's a jollof type of a woman, or she's some banku and pepper type of a woman, well, can you cook that? All these things, again, will give an idea of the behavior of the person. Number five, if the person needs you to do something, the request the person asks of you, what are they? How are they like? What kind of requests does the person make of you? Some of the requests, if the person is making, do you feel like you are being taken advantage of? Once you are feeling that way, then you must know something. Either you study the person further, or you advise yourself quietly. The same way you enter into the person's life in order to get to the inner cycle of the person, in order to become a friend, a good friend to the person, same way, quietly go out. Game close. You save yourself headaches. You save yourself trouble. Are you with me? Okay. Then the fifth one, and so forth and so on, is that if the person wants to come to you, how or when does the person visit you? If the person is around you, how does the person act? Watch that. There are more things to this that I want to say, but time will not permit me to be able to say that. But suffice it that these 4 or 5 items that I've given you, the place, the person, how the person keeps his room or her environment. If the person wants to buy, how does the person buy? If the person wants to eat, what sort of food does the person eat? How does the person eat? That's also very important. Where does the person eat? And all that. If the person comes, so let's go out and go and eat. Every day, let's go out to go and eat. Every day, let's go out to get. That's telling you something. If the person says, oh, when can you cook for me to come and eat some? And when you cook and he's eating, you have done well and all that, it's telling you a story. Now, if the person wants to make a request of you, oh, please, could you do this for me? What kind of requests come? And in what form and shade? Pay attention to those things. All this that I have said, including if the person wants to visit you, what time does the person come? If the person is around you, is in your environment, how does the person behave? All this and many others, you can't get to know them until you draw closer to the person. And when that happens, it will tell you the person you intend to have a relationship that leads to marriage, the person, how the person is. But if you ask the person, could you tell me about yourself? The person will say so many nice things about himself or herself. Who are you? So many nice things about himself or herself. Without giving you things that if you take time to observe what close by, without telling you any of them. So viewers, this is how we draw the curtain down on tonight's show. Don't forget, like, comment, and share. Send the link to somebody so the person can also take advantage of this episode and learn some valuable lessons in order to guide his or her life with. Don't forget again, we are waiting for your comments. Our addresses, our WhatsApp numbers and email addresses are beneath the screen. Write to us. Tell us about how you feel about our show and any other concern that you want us to address. As I keep saying, very soon we'll take time with our guests seated and we'll pose the question to them. And together we fashion a way out for your problem. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night. Bye-bye.
You strong.